This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good morning again, everyone. This is Blake DeRushi from Iowa Homeland Security and Emergency Management. I'm the 911 Program Manager. Chair Rotter, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you, Blake.
All right, go ahead and let's get started.
Okay, welcome everyone to today's July 8th, 2021 edition of the Iowa 911 Communications Council. If we could, Kara Sorrells, our secretary, could you please take a roll call of our membership, please? Make sure we have a quorum.
Yes, I will. Tracy Bearden?
Here, it's Brandon Miller-Gus. I'm filling in for this morning.
Okay, awesome. I also see Kirk Huntermark, her alternate, is here as well. Lawrence Hartpence? George Griffith? I know I saw him on, I just don't know. Mike Bryant? Mark Murphy?
I'm here.
Jeff Anderson?
I'm here.
Richard Pierce?
I'm here.
Rob Dennert? Jack D'Angelo?
Here.
Taylor Teeple? All right, you do have a quorum, Chair.
Okay, thank you. All right, if I could get a motion to approve today's agenda.
So move, Mark Murphy.
Thank you, Mark. Do I have a second?
Pierce will second.
Good. Any discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. And then likewise, could I get a motion to approve the June 10th, 2021 minutes?
Pierce approves.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Murphy will second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. And motion carries. Thank you. All right, Blake, do you have a report for us?
I do. Let me get my slides up. All right. Just a reminder, this is hopefully the final month in kind of the multiple month project of trying to figure out what is out within the state for wireline cost recovery. We asked PSAPs and telcos to kind of work together, figure out what, if anything, could be removed from the wireline infrastructure, talk about the cost being charged, and then submit those copies of invoices to us. We'll go ahead and aggregate those up at the statewide level and try to get a good estimate of what is out there. As a reminder, a lot of the point of the wireline migration was to hopefully absorb those costs and alleviate them at the local level. And this is kind of the process that we've had to go through to figure out what those totals are. So by the end of July, hopefully I have a good portion of those costs submitted to us, and we'll crank out a report on what those costs are and what is out there for wireline cost fees. As part of that entire discussion, just another reminder, if PSAPs have not disconnected your legacy CAM and ALI circuits from Lumen, please do so. I've sent out a couple of reminders and instructions on how to do that, but happy to do that again and chat offline if you need further assistance. By way of an update from last month's ICN and EZUNet discussion, ICN did repair a major fiber path and continues to work on the interoperability issue that was described last month. And I think you'll have noted that there's been basically zero disruptions since that fiber path was repaired. So while it's not fully completely fixed, as far as disruptions that we've been able to see and notice, I think everyone would kind of agree that it's been a marked improvement over the last month or so. So thanks to ICN and folks that were involved in stabilizing that issue. Any questions on kind of the wireline portion? Actually, and I see I put the EZNet service disruptions twice on there. So any questions on the wireline stuff that I covered? I'll just quickly show a map of where we still need to work on the wireline migration. But any questions on that part? Okay. If not, I want to draw your attention to a part of the infrastructure bill that I'm sure everyone has heard about. Does include $15 billion for next gen 911.
That was for the are you on the phone? Oh, I thought I heard your conference call.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Jack D'Angelo. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on, but hey, Blake. Yeah, I missed last month's call. So just following up on the dual alley provisioning. I don't mean to belabor the issue, but it's been a couple months now, so I didn't know if you had an update there. Yeah, I guess so give us a status on that. Can we quit doing the dual alley provisioning at this point?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. And I know you asked that a couple months ago, and in talking with Lumen and with Comtech, the safest recommendation is to continue to do provision. And we could do some messaging about, the conditions under which you could stop dual provisioning. The concern is that there would be mixed messaging there, or for telcos that serve multiple areas, and, an area that still needs to dual provision and an area that no longer needs dual provision, that there's just mixed messaging there. So again, as I show the map, for the most part, the concern is when you transfer an on-net PSAP to an off-net PSAP, if the alley is not dual provisioned, that transfer will not come through with the alley. So, you could conceivably say in Eastern Iowa, as far as transfers go, you're probably pretty safe. But if there's telcos that serve kind of statewide or those areas that have not converted yet, there's concern that, there could either be confusion or mixed messaging on who can stop.
Yep.
So the official
Okay, yeah.
at this point is to still continue to do so.
Okay, yeah, I understand the issue. I just was curious if, I guess at this point, if you have some kind of timeline.
Mike, if Mike Lauer is on from ICN, the timeline on dual provisioning actually goes into the timeline on the conversion of those remaining PSAPs. If Mike is available and on, would you want to get into the time frame on that aspect?
Yeah, definitely. So as Blake said, that's going to be the main issue here. We're currently working on trying to some stragglers, if you will, to get things going so that we can work with some telcos as much as possible, whether it be local or existing Lumen legacy customers, if you will. Because on this map, there's a few places that maybe have like one or two exchanges, and they might be able to move connectivity onto a legacy selective router via another path. So we're currently working on that, but it's a slow time frame because it was not within the scope of the general project. We knew there were, of course, going to be Sally sites. That's why they were moved to the end. But of course, that adds to the dual provisioning conversation. And I think probably the next best step is and this is something that I know that we did talk with Comtech on, and we're still looking at it. It will come down to, of all those telcos that are within those 6-7 counties on there, because Humboldt shows is completed for Alley, but it does have an exchange that still is kind of not being delivered via the state Alley location. That conversation is there could be at least a list given out that says, hey, everybody but these telcos need to continue to dual provision. The worry with that is you're going to see is like Windstream will be, like, just use them as an example, they will be one where, okay, they'll continue to dual provision. But I think for our local vendors, say South Slope in Cedar Rapids area, or even you and your telco area, Jack, it'd probably be pretty safe to sit there and say, you guys don't need to provision anymore for what's there. I think that's the next step. We still don't have an end date time frame on this for the other Sally sites, because we're finding out is just the cost. There's going to be the cost to move them over directly to the ICN, or to move them. What's the cost to move them to the existing path? And for the most part, we've been able to, do everything at a no cost, low cost factor to the PSAP, and thankfully none to telcos at all for right now. But that's what we're trying to work on. So it is a slow process. But my recommendation, and what we're still talking through, is at least verify who are the PSAPs that are feeding these these SALI locations, I should say, and say, you guys have to continue dual provisioning, but then other folks can basically stop. That's kind of my recommendation, that we're going through and still talking through that.
Hey, Blake, this is Bill. May I contribute to this as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so Bill Burnett with Contact. So Potawatomi is actually the last piece that is off the legacy Lumen Alley. So we, in talking with Lumen, once Potawatomi is converted over, and telcos can stop provisioning to Lumen Alley. The timeline on that, we're trying to convert Potawatomi to some other systems right now with Lumen. Excuse me. And hopefully within the next month to 2 months, we'll complete Potawatomi and their migration over. And at that point, I think we'll be able to at least announce that telcos no longer provision to the Lumen Alley.
Okay, this is Jack again. We're getting so much reverberation, very trouble hearing, but I understand the issue. We'll hang until we get, an update later.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I was able to make out, I think, most of the conversation. It looks like some of the feedback is coming from some of the callers, and I muted, I think, the one that was causing that echo. So I think we should be good, hopefully, from here on. So any other questions on the wireline migration before I move on? Okay. Wanted to bring your attention. You may have seen information about the 911 grant that is contained within the infrastructure bill that I'm sure you've seen about. That is currently, as drafted, $15 billion for next gen 911 upgrades. This would be a new grant, and by comparison, the grant that we currently have from the National 911 Office nationwide was $115 million. From that grant, we received $2.6 million here in Iowa, and we use the wireline migration as well as the shared services projects to help to help out with those projects. We use that grant funding to help out with those projects. Sorry about that. So looking at, again, the $15 billion and working with vendors and looking at what is the final end state of next gen 911, we are certainly open to ideas, suggestions, thinking a little into the future of what we could potentially want to use some of that funding for, and not wanting to put the cart before the horse. There's a lot of steps left for that infrastructure bill before it is signed into law. A lot of things could change with it, but we do want to have an idea in mind, statewide of what some potential projects could be towards that grant. Another thing that you might have seen, if you're paying attention to kind of the public safety type of articles, there has been some back and forth on the language specific to the 911 grant within the infrastructure bill. APCO and NENA are kind of going back and forth, and there's a couple other associations in each of the corners, to make sure that language is correct and palatable for everyone. I don't think that those hurdles are too big that it would cause the grant to die. But those are things that are being worked through with congressional staffers and again, those two associations. So I think they will agree to some sort of language. And then, of course, yet to be seen if the infrastructure bill moves forward at all. But wanted to make sure that you were aware that that provision was included in that Lift America Act. Any questions on that? Okay. I wanted to remind everyone of the strategic plan. That work is still ongoing. We started really the workshops the beginning of 2021. You can see the categories and the workshops that are available. Again, monthly, weekly meetings are being held on those. So if anyone is interested in joining a work group to help work on the 5-year strategic plan, we're still taking volunteers. You're not out, you're not behind, where you would still certainly take any input. Again, those categories are facilities and operations, education and outreach, 911 programs, systems and standards, and legislative and administration. If you are interested, just shoot an email to the 911@iowa.gov inbox, and we will make sure to get you included. Also, as an update, kind of talked about this a couple months ago. We did go ahead and finalize Comtech's kind of extension. It is 5 years with an additional 5 1-year renewals for a total of 10 years. So that is the second kind of 10-year contract with them. So they will be in place for at least an additional 5 more years. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving on to and that header should actually say 2022 at this point, GIS information. Again, the benchmarks that go into place starting this month, July, the start of the fiscal year, really only adds one additional benchmark, and that is the 0 critical errors. So the other benchmarks remain the same: 98% GIS match rate, 98% alley to road centerline, and now the new 0 critical errors. So I know a handful of PSAPs have already uploaded in July and actually already even met that new benchmark as well. So all of that is critically important as we look towards actually starting to use that GIS data using the GIS-based MSAG this fall timeframe. So if you look on the right-hand side of that slide, you will see that 92 counties met the benchmarks last year, which means that 7 have work to do. A number of those have already put new contracts in place. I see Rob said you lost my audio. Not sure which part I was talking at. I'm in the office and I'm not sure what happened there.
It was just right after you asked questions. You were silent for quite a while there, so I figured we probably lost you, but
okay.
You're good now.
Okay, sounds good. I was just re-highlighting the new benchmarks for the GIS grant for the upcoming fiscal year. You can see that 92 counties met the benchmarks last year, which means 7 have work to do. A number of those have already put in place new contracts with vendors and are probably, I'd say, on their way to meeting those benchmarks. And a couple will probably have to be continued to have outreach done by our office to make sure they're up to those 98% match rates and 0 critical errors in order for us to kind of flip the switch on the GIS-derived MSAG in the fall. So if you're one of those counties, you will definitely be hearing from us in the future. And again, here's kind of those counties that we need to work on. There are 2 applications for review and approval later on in the council meeting for training funds. Delaware County has requested a victim's plea from the Denise Amber Lee Foundation, and Westcom has requested human sex trafficking myths and realities. Those were sent out to council members for review, and I'll have those on the screen here when you guys go ahead and talk about them. And with that, I will turn it over to Lynn Warren with Zetron to talk about the shared services.
Good morning. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
All right. Next slide, please. The last month, we had Webster County go live with their max call taking, and Shelby went live with their CAD and their EMD. We're currently working on Delaware County and Franklin County. The equipment's being installed and they'll be going live in July and August. And we've had 4 intake forms received and the site surveys are being scheduled or have been completed. Next slide, please. Got a very busy couple months. Just wanted to have a list here of all the PSAPs that have signed up recently and that we are scheduling to move on to the Iowa Shared Services max call taking. And next slide. We've added onto this slide with the yellow, you can see who has signed on and is pending deployment, and the green are the ones that are active. And next slide. And as always, we have a monthly newsletter called the Iowa Insider that we send out. If you're interested in receiving a copy of it, just send me an email at lwarren@zetron.com and I'll get you added onto the subscription list. Any questions? All right, thank you. Back to you, Blake.
Thanks, Lynn. And that also concludes my briefing. If there's any questions for me or any of the private partners that we had, I would take them now. All right, thanks,
Blake,
Chair.
this is George. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We had, or should say that there was a part of a 911 board meeting that my captain came back to me and said that the state said there's multi-million dollars worth of money funding available from COVID to be used for purchases of Metro-wide CAD system. Have you heard anything about that, or is that kind of unrelated?
I have not heard anything about that. I know there are various COVID recovery programs out there. Our department is not really involved in those programs. Most of them, as far as I'm aware, kind of being managed at the governor level. But if you can get me some more specifics, I can certainly dig into what might have been said or who might have said it, and maybe I need an update on what's available.
Okay, I'll just send you a private email, and that way, I'm not sure where it goes, but thank you for your time.
Sounds good. All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Router.
Okay, thank you, Blake. As mentioned, we do have training fund requests. The first one, Delaware County, a victim's plead, Denise Amberly Foundation for $4,500. Is there anyone from Delaware County that wishes to say anything about that request? Okay, I'm not hearing anyone. We'll just maybe keep these together. The second one is a request from Westcom Polk County on human sex trafficking myths and realities for $1,350. Is anyone here from Westcom Polk County that would like to speak on that request? Okay, hearing none. I think we have to break these up. I think we have representation from Westcom here. So if we could, I would seek a motion to approve the Delaware County for $4,500.
I'd make that motion, Chair.
Okay. Do we have a second?
It's Griffith. Go ahead.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the Delaware County request, signal by saying aye.
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 Again, same sign. And the motion carries. Okay. On the Westcom Polk County, do I have anybody that needs to abstain?
Griffith will.
Very well. Okay, likewise, can I have a motion to approve the Westcom Polk County request?
Anderson.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Pierce.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Against, same sign. And motion carries. Thank you. Okay, going on. Do we have any technical advisories? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to an update on the Iowa Interoperability Governance Board. Chris, are you on the call?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me okay?
I can, thank you.
All right, excellent. Thank you, and good morning, 911 Council. Some updates from the ISICS board for this month. It's a lengthy list, so I'll get through this as expediently as possible. We're still having routine preventative maintenance go on for ISICS. Again, if we have to take a site down for it to be maintained, we will post that on status board under the site status tab. If you click on the column where the administration notes are listed, if you click on that twice, that will put the sites that are undergoing maintenance near the top, and that way your dispatchers will have awareness of what's going on. The site status update in status board is in addition to what is also being emailed out to points of contact we have throughout the state. Kind of related to status board as well, for those of you that are on the RAGBRAI route, the interop talk group used for the mobile components of RAGBRAI has been reserved and is listed in the calendar function. So if you want to see which talk group is being used for that, that is posted. I also want to let everybody know that if you are an overnight stop, feel free to grab a regional TAC for any of the interoperability needs you may have. By grabbing that regional interoperable TAC, it allows you to reserve that talk group so everybody else knows that you've got it, and the risk of them or someone else stepping over top of you goes down tremendously. Quick update on some of our TA requests. The virtual COML course is slated for next week. We are full at 15 students, which is good news. We did have to open it up to out-of-state participants as well. The goal for us is to host another COML this fall that will hopefully be in person. We are going to wait though until we can get some confirmation on when some of the prerequisite in-person classes are going to be offered, so that we can schedule that COML after some of the prerequisites are held in the state again. We're also working on rescheduling our tactical interoperable communications plan and field operations guide meeting. Just an issue with facilities and availability on the specific dates we initially thought may work well there. So we're going to work to reschedule that. Just a quick update on the West STR, that is still deployed in Clinton. That is expected to carry on for the next few months as well. Perhaps more exciting, ISICS regional training is firing back up. We're going to have a virtual session on July 20th. That'll last about an hour, and it's kind of geared towards the RAGBRAI counties. So if you're on that RAGBRAI route, feel free to sign up for that July 20th training session. We have the JOT form linked on our website, so if you want to sign up for that, just go there and we'll get your information. Then we'll send you notice when the session starts. We also have an in-person training scheduled for Region 2 for July 29th. The sign-up form for that is also out on JOT form, and we're really close to announcing one for Region 5 that will also be in person. All signs are pointing to that being in Ottumwa, so the fact that we're starting to get these things scheduled for in-person, that's a really good sign. We're also still offering the one-on-one agency and PSAP-based training for the interoperable talk groups and status board as always. That will be considered to be a perpetual offering for Iowa communities and agencies out there. Let us know if you want a session. Again, there's no cost for any of this training. That's considered a state-provided service, and that's provided at no cost to agencies. ISICS applications approved at last month's board meeting. Burke County EMA in Nebraska for level 1. Butler County updated their level 3 access. Hardin County was approved at level 2, and Monona County updated their level 3 access as well to include a few extra things. Those were all approved last month. The ones that are up for approval today are Blackhawk County EMA at level 1, Calhoun County and the Calhoun County EMA at level 4, Pocahontas Police Department at level 1, and Story County 911 at level 2. Those are the ones that are up for approval today. Some quick policy updates from the board. The LTE deployable policy was adopted last month, so that one is officially adopted at this point, and that'll help with coordination with LTE carriers, which we're all very excited about. We're also working on some updates to the ISIX MC12B, and I'll have an update for the council here related to that next month. On to FirstNet. New FirstNet sites over the past month in Iowa include Humiston, Iowa, Plano, Iowa, 2 of them actually east of Osceola, 1 in Lucas and 1 in Sheraton, 2 near Grant and Orient, 1 near Melrose, 1 near Mount Etna, and a couple of small cell nodes in the greater Des Moines metro area, 1 in Ankeny, and actually 2 in city of Des Moines. As far as in-person updates for this group goes related to our meetings, I don't have anything solid as of yet, but I am really hopeful that if a few things fall into place, we'll be back in person next month. Still grinding away at trying to get that lined up and solidified. Hopefully we have a couple of leads on that, but I'm going to be in touch with Blake and Chair Rotter on that. My hope is that we'll have something to announce here in the next few weeks, and hopefully we'll be back in person in August. That's my goal. Still waiting for a few things to line up, but if they do, I'm going to get us back to in person as quick as we can. That's my update. I will go ahead and take any questions.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Moving on, do we have an update from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency? Jim Lundstedt, are you on?
Good morning, Chair Router. Are you able to hear me okay?
Thank you.
Good morning. No official update today. As Chris Myers just noted, we are working to return to in-person delivery of some of our ICTAP technical assistance deliverables, hoping to have clarity on that. It looks like we will probably resume in-person classes in the September or early October timeframe, but still working through that to be sure that our instructors and support personnel are able to travel safely to engage in the various states and territories. Other than that, no update for this month. It's pending any questions for me, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, I'll check in with our committees. I know that it's been still a little tough to meet in person, and I would imagine that's going to improve here as we go. But do we have anybody who wants to give any updates on the 34A Administrative Code Committee?
This is Brandon. Tracy let me know there were no updates.
Okay, thank you. And then likewise, the Baseline Knowledge for 911 Communications Professionals Committee. Any update there? Okay. Any legislative issues that need to be brought forward? Okay, hearing none. I have no unfinished business or new business, and no travel requests. So is there anything that needs to be discussed from the floor? Any 911 issues at the PSAPs? Okay, hearing none, that would conclude our meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Anderson moves.
Okay. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Murphy.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.